All right, so this is going to be a short presentation on how to create a voiceover PowerPoint, and we'll include both the voice narration recording as well as editing either one, multiple, or all of the slides, depending on what you need for your purposes. So what I'm going to do in order to create this is to start from PowerPoint in a presentation. And that's what you would want to do. You would basically want to have your presentation open in just the normal view, and you would want to have all of your instructor notes organized by slide ready to go. I don't suggest using the instructor notes, which you see down here, because that might make it difficult. You're not going to be able to use that while you're recording the voice narration, so make sure you have those someplace else to go. So what you want to do is there's instructions here, and I'm going to move forward just real quick. We want to start from our standard view, and we're going to go to the slideshow presentation. Now, just so you know, as I start to do this, I'm going to have to actually go through the process of doing it. So it will take me out of this slideshow presentation into the voice narration. But just to give you an idea where we're going to go, I'll show you real quick before we start. So you're in slideshow. You want to click this tab right here, slideshow. Now we're going to be clicking the record narration. It's going to take us through a few steps, including checking our microphone settings, making sure that we don't have the link in narration selected. We start recording our message and then stopping. So I'm going to take you through that process, and then we'll come back and we'll review that, and you'll see that in the PowerPoint. So here we go. Click record narration, and then you probably want to set your microphone level, and I'll pop a screen and see, as you can see, I'm talking, it's in the green, a little bit of yellow. That's a good level. You don't want it to be too much yellow or a lot of red. You click OK. Make sure this link narrations in is not selected. We're not going to be adding that. We're actually going to create the narration as we go through, and then you click OK. And then for our purposes of starting a new presentation, we're going to click from first slide. That will pop up the first slide and you start talking. So this is a presentation on how to create a voice over PowerPoint. Now to go to the next slide and begin the recording for that, you're going to go ahead and just click your enter button, or your next arrow, sorry. And it'll bring up the next slide. The one thing that I want to remind you as you're recording, and this is recording as I'm talking to you right now, is to try and leave about a 2-second space at the beginning of each slide. And the reason for that is that it actually cuts a little bit off in the beginning. So just take a quiet breath and then begin your voice narration. So I'm going to go to the next slide. So now I'm talking on the next slide. I had a little bit of a space in between there. And once we're done going through all the slides, and let me go ahead and click to the next one. We're almost done. We're going to talk about how we can edit them. That's my contact information. And then when you're done recording all the way through your presentation, you want to press the escape button. And once you press escape, it'll ask you if you want to save or not save. So you want to save it. And now you can see that you have your slides with timing. So it tells you how much time you're recording on each slide. And the thing you could do is you want to review it. So you want to make sure that as you're reviewing it, that the sound quality is good, and you want to start making notes of which slides you need to edit. So to review it, you go back to slideshow and from beginning. Now to go to the next slide and begin the recording for that, we're going to go ahead and and I'm not sure if the quality, if you were able to hear that sound or not, but basically I was watching it from the beginning. I watched a couple of slides. Just so you know, when you record the voice over narration this way, once you press from the beginning, the presentation will automatically advance itself. So the user doesn't have to do anything. They don't have to press the enter button or the next button. They don't have to click a button to have the voice actually start, the narration start. It'll be automatic. So if you have a 15-minute presentation, it'll go through the whole 15 minutes. Users do have the ability to pause the presentation. So, you know, if people get interrupted, they can go ahead and pause it. So this is a really good option for not having the user have to do a lot other than, you know, like you would on a video, a pause play button. The one other thing that as you go through, you'll probably notice that there's some errors. Maybe you began speaking too quickly on a slide, and so it cut the first couple words off. Maybe you just don't like the way you recorded that slide, or maybe at a later date you need to insert some slides and add the narration to those, or you need to update the content that's currently on one of the slides. So that's really easy to do. You don't have to redo the whole slide. It won't affect your presentation at all. It'll readjust all the timings and fit new slides in or delete slides out and continue the slideshow. And the great thing about it is, say for instance, you originally recorded, you know, 4 minutes of narration on a slide, and maybe you decide, well, my presentation's too long and I need to cut 2 minutes out. I'm going to cut the 2 minutes off that slide. You can go back to that slide and you can re-record 2 minutes, and the other 2 minutes, it basically re-records completely that slide. So you don't have to worry about pieces of the additional narration still being on there. With that said, that's not an option for you. You can't go in and just say you have 2 minutes of context on a slide and you wanted to add something really quick at the beginning. You can't just record a piece at the beginning and have the rest of it there. You'd have to re-record that entire slide. So it's really simple. Basically, the steps for re-recording are exactly like how you initially did the narration. So you want to be back in the slideshow presentation, and you want to determine which slides you need to record, because if there are certain slides that are consecutive, you can consecutively go through those, editing them just like you did in the original narration. So you'd be able to just use your forward arrow button to advance. If it's only a single slide, the one thing you want to make sure is that when you record that one slide, you press escape without advancing to the next slide, because as soon as you advance to the next slide, it's going to delete the original narration. So I'll give you an example. We're going to go ahead and just re-record on this one slide right here. So we go to record narration. We've already got our microphone levels okay. No link in narration selected. We press OK. Now you want to make sure this time you select the current slide. And here we are on this current slide. We're going to be talking about editing narration. And as I told you, editing is really simple. We can edit one slide, multiple, or all slides. Right now we're going to edit just this one slide. And just to make sure that you know, the original content is completely removed from the slide, so you're re-recording all of it. So I think we're done with that. I'm not going to advance. I'm going to press escape. I want to go ahead and save that. And now you can see this slide, which initially had, I believe, 6 seconds of narration, has 26 seconds. And if I was to go back from the beginning and play it, all of the original narration as well as the one edited slide would play continuously together. So that's how you create a voiceover PowerPoint and edit it. I think that's probably about everything that you need to know for this, and we'll check back in with you later.